how do you feel? You hit one of the biggest game-winning shots in NBA history.
Wow. I'm gonna tell you. First off, fear is not real in my book. When I try to explain it, you try to think about the best way to explain that zone that you put yourself in. You're in a moment that you're playing against the best, or you feel challenged the most, or you have like a playoff series where things are very challenging. I don't think anyone realizes how many things have to go right for you to be on that stage and be successful. Like it's a competition. So there's going to be ebb and flows of the game. And we had a very special team that year. We were older. It was 2016. A lot of our veterans were, in their 30s or really on the tail end of kind of basketball. And that's all they knew. They knew about the IQ of the game. The appreciation was just different. And when I think about fear in that case, I've been playing basketball my whole life. It's not really anything that's different for me, except I got to make sure that this move works and that I practice it enough times to know that it's part of my game. And I say all that to say, the more you prepare yourself for those type of moments, the better off you'll be. I used to be in my backyard counting down 5, 4, 3, and I used to imagine Kobe defending me, or who the best point guard at the time? J-Kidd defending me, all the best players in the league, Shaq blocking my layup. So I just started practicing things as my imagination started to evolve. Imagining Shaq at the rim. Like, if Shaq's at the rim, you got to throw that basketball high as heck. Otherwise, he's going to get it. You think about going against Amari Stoudemire, and then you see these guys up close at 19 years old. I was at the 2011 finals when Dallas played Miami. I was actually doing like a little mini internship before I got drafted, maybe like a month. Yeah, during that month, I got drafted in June. And I had met Bron around that time as well as in high school. So we had a close relationship then. It was strictly about transferring knowledge. Like, what does this level look like for you? And I saw it up close. I got a chance to see it up close, and it inspired me. Obviously, Miami lost that year. Dallas won on, a really, really miraculous playoff run. Bron played well. D-Wade played well. It was just very challenging, and I learned a lot from that. And then they went on to win back-to-back championships after that. And you come into a league during that time, and they're just dominating everything. You get a chance to play with Bron on the same team at that level, you better believe if that shot comes to me, I'm going to be ready to take it. I had already had some game winners underneath my belt throughout my life, to where I've been called upon to do that before, to be a closer or to be, that closing guy, and to be on a great team too, where a great player like Bron says, hey, let's run this play. I have all the confidence in the world. I had just got done really going through some really insightful talks with Kobe. I didn't play well the first 2 games in Golden State, so I called Kobe. I was like, man, what do you see out there? And he was like, man, just be yourself. Like, just be aggressive. And honestly, let me take this time to shout out to everybody in the comments, but RIP my man Kobe as well. That was one of the hardest games I ever had to play against Detroit. I had to leave the Garden early. Man, it was just so sudden. I broke down in the locker room when I heard about the news with Kobe. So basketball was the last thing on my mind, But I don't want to make it a sad thing. It's just that was a big part of a lot of teaching and influence in my life and mentorship, and we had a different relationship, I followed a lot of that man's patterns, copied a lot of that man's moves and who he was as a person, and even the way he went about his life. It wasn't really about connecting with everyone all the time. It just, when you're on a different thought pattern at times and you're trying to explain yourself, you can overthink and overdo, and that man really channeled all that energy and all that hate that people have for him and channeled it all into a bunch of FUs, and I'm going to show you guys on this level. And it's just, I was a Celtic before I got traded to the Celtics. That was my stamp in jersey.
Yes, sir.
I had to transfer from Montclair Kimberly. They unheard of young man. He was getting 30. I was averaging like a triple-double my sophomore year of high school. I was averaging like 26, 10, 10, and like 3 blocks. Like the only defense I done played. Like it was so crazy. Like I was doing everything. Then I transferred to St. Pat's, and I tell you, it changed my whole outlook on things. I went from
at Montclair Kimberly, I was already at St. Pat's, and a couple of my other teammates were already at St. Pat's. We hadn't heard about this. We didn't hear about this until Kyrie was transferring in. didn't know how powerful this 30 points a game was because there's a guy named Corey Fisher that's still my favorite player to this day. So I just want to big up Corey Fisher while we're in this chat.
Real talk. Shout out to C. Fish. Okay. He and others in St. Pat's history set the standard of what it meant to be a St. Pat's Celtics. Shout out to Kevin Boyle as well. There was a culture about New Jersey high school basketball that was cemented over a long period of time of just guys playing all over New Jersey. And for me, I saw it as an opportunity to test my skills against the best. I knew that I needed to be challenged the same way that anyone else was. My dad took me everywhere, all across, the United States. I played everywhere. But when I came home to Jersey, it was just a different type of pride. So playing outside in the parks, playing in all those gyms, I had to go at everybody. It was person after person. I had to become the best in West Orange, and then the best in my county, and then the best in a few counties, and the best in the state, and then try to get ranked nationally, and then put my goals really, really high to try to go after making it to the league. I always felt like that was a goal of mine that I wasn't going to stop until I had it. And it was like a Ferrari going on the racetrack with no rearview mirror, nothing in sight, just I'm going, and I thought about going from age 16 to 19. Mm-hmm. I went from transferring to St. Pat's at 16, going through that whole entire journey of high school career, trying to get ranked, trying to be the best in my class, trying to be on everyone's pre-draft rankings. And what that turned into was I had to grow up so quickly, bro. From 16 to 19, I got drafted at 19. They drafted me in June. Did I know what type of responsibility and the type of voice and the type of platform I would have now throughout those years? Heck no. I'd be telling you, like, I came in the game with this spiritual plan that I wanted to change the world, or, all these other things that I try to do through basketball, but it's not always the best platform to do it through. When you want to speak about those things, you got to get into intimate conversations. You got to go inside the communities so you align with like-minded people. Yeah. It's no disrespect to the NBA. I love being in the NBA. I love entertaining. I love the art form. But outside of that, there exists myself and how much I appreciate diving into my history and talking with people and being around, just doing, learning about the world, bro.
Oh, yeah.
So I think about that too. Is it unfair to be 19 years old and, you go from, no, you signed up for it. And now you get to be 28 years old and look back on those times and acknowledge it that, it happened. You learn from it. I'm sorry if I offended you, but this is who I am. Yeah. And you ride out like that.
And to circle back to your journey at St. Pat's, you came, you saw, you conquered, you destroyed, you did what you do, and the journey was beautiful, man. It was great. Great times to see. Yeah.
Great times. Still great times, bro.
So it's on you, man.
Still great times ahead, man. Shout out to everybody in here watching, though, too.
Word.
Really, man. I don't do this often, but when I do, this is about literally just connecting 100%. Even though this is as awkward as it gets, just kind of reading people's comments and, you're trying to keep things interesting. But yeah, let me play a song real quick. Enjoying your birthday. How do you feel? Because I enjoy my birthday inside. I had to, quarantine and all that stuff. So it's you want to protect yourself at all times with what's going on. Hey, why Dame was in that video when he was in the skating rink. He was trying to boss up, but shout out to Dame Dollar, bro. He's really taking he's taking all of us, bro.
How do you know about that? How do you know about that new car? What are you talking about? How do you know about
what you mean? Come on now.
Oh,
Dame's not playing. No, I'm not playing it. But I'm pretty sure it gets on the wire that I go in the studio every once in a while. But I have more of an appreciation for what he does because he's actually out there, bro. Shout out to him. Please support Dame Dollar, bro. That's the big homie right there. Love that dude, bro. Love competing against him on the floor, too. Killer. Oh, my goodness. Did you see what he did last year, too?
Absolutely.
When you get savage enough to go like this, like when you wave somebody goodbye from a right step back hard, side step from like 30-something feet, bro.
Yeah, he was coming from a different place. That was a different
Yeah, no, it's different in the playoffs, bro. It's different. It's very different in the playoffs. That you gotta turn into a killer. You know,
Nah, he's a killer.
it's a different monster. You do stuff like that in the playoffs. He game balled. Who else? The Rockets like that, going left, fading. I was watching that on the other day on YouTube. I watch everybody diligently. It's good to study them because they have different pieces of their game that they took from players that came before us, and then we're setting the standard of what the point guard role looks like or the guard role looks like now in today's day and age.
Yeah.
If you're not able to be consistent on all three levels, you're going to go against some of us that are going to be waiting for you, you know, like sushi, bro. We come to us at a home game or an away game, and you can feel it now, though. The competition is at that level. Especially,
crazier. Because I remember.
Oh, for sure. Because we've all been competing against each other for a while now. Most of us, like we're the next generation of leaders of our classes, our generations, for sure.
Because I remember when we were in high school, how we used to look at CP and what's my man who used to play for the Nets? Who played with
JK?
No, point guard. No, not JK. Come on.
No, to say who?
Point guard.
Who?
Light skin. It was CP and him. I can't think of his name right now.
CP and wait, when?
With Illinois. Point guard. You know exactly who I'm talking about, bro.
All I know.
CP.
Luther Head. Darren Williams. Oh, wow.
Look at them. Remember how we used to look at them in high school, and then the point guard position just changed. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay.
You guys were like understudies of them, and then you guys took it to a whole different level. You know what I'm saying? Like, no disrespect to CP or Darren Williams, but
no, I don't even think it's disrespectful when you talk about different like classes, draft classes, anything like eras, all that stuff. It's not disrespectful. The game is going to revolutionize itself at all times. Guys are going to get better. You know, guys can have 1 good year, 2 good years, 3 good years. You put together a 5-year run. By the time you know it, you've accomplished, you know, dang near everything you want to do in the league. Yeah. So guys are getting that at younger too. You know, Giannis was MVP at what, 22, 23, something like that. So guys are doing unbelievable things. You got Ja Morant, Zion coming in with the type of following that they have that it's actually being shown on TV. You know, those guys are exciting to watch. They're exciting to really see up close, but actually they're entertaining. So shout out to all those guys, man, that are changing.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but somebody thought I was talking about Devin Harris.
Yo, Devin Harris was good for our Nets at one point, man.
Yes, Devin Harris put on for the Nets for a minute.
Oh, man, yo, we had to being a struggling Nets fan at one point. Oh, my goodness, bro.
It's rough.
All my Jersey people know before the Nets went to Brooklyn.
Yeah, it was rough.
Trying to fill that Continental Airlines arena up. They were selling 3-game packages for like $90. They had like the Milwaukee Bucks, the Pacers, and the Raptors. You could get it for like $99. And my dad would buy that package of games. And I just remember the smell of popcorn. You know, I remember the seats.
Heavy popcorn.
No, bro, I went home from that finals game that I went to that my dad, we were up in the nosebleeds, bro. I still had the waving white towel from when they were in the finals. We were up in the nosebleeds. God bless my dad too, man. Like, that dude, he really sacrificed a lot. And when he got those tickets and we got to see them play, I went home and I wrote it down on my sheet rock in my closet. I'm going to the NBA. Look, this right here, yeah. I wrote that down in 4th grade. Yeah. You know, like that was snot.
You got to zoom in. Show them the words.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. I can't really see. It says, "I am going to the NBA. I promise." This was an artist that did this for me, but it's got like, look at me, savage, savage. And of course, but it was kind of predestined at this point, I believe. Yeah. Some ways. Did I know it would take me to Cleveland, Boston, and then Brooklyn? No, but it did. You know, it's the beauty of the journey. Hey, yo, shout out to my boy Noah, man. Noah Farrakhan, boy.
He ain't here?
Yes, sir.
Noah, what up,
Yes,
man?
sir.
No, shout out to Noah, shout out to Jonathan, shout out to St. Pat's.
Of course, the whole movement. Oh my god, do we want to go into those memories right quick?
Let's talk about it.
Do we need to talk about that?
Let's talk about it. Let's touch it.